Hello everyone. How are you this fine evening? Ugh, is my feeling this evening. So I hope everyone else is doing better. I need to change the volume of the music, I think. It's pretty good, nice jazz music though. Very nice. Why is it not changing? What? Oh, there we go. I'm gonna pull down the music and there we go. Hello. I haven't streamed in a long time, so I sometimes forget what I do. Wait, do I not exist now? Huh? Nani? Life. Okay. Apparently that didn't work. So we will redo it. How about now? No? Why? Why is it not working? Oh, there we go. Thank God. Wait, no, I'm frozen. That's not working either. Oh, my lord. Oh, if he was a ghost all along? I have been. How did you know? Hello, Gina. I am trying to find why I can't stream VTube Studio because it's giving me a black screen. It worked before I started the stream. I'm not crazy. It did work. And then I started the stream and now it's black. And he doesn't wanna do stuff. It was working when it was on this side. Is that the issue? That I changed the screens? No. Can't be an issue then. I'm too hungover for this shit. I've been like holding back pukes all day, but I also didn't want to push this stream further back because it's already been like a 1.5 months or 2 months. So I was like, oh, I can't do it again. Maybe if I restart VTube Studios, maybe that's the issue. Don't make fun of me. I'm delicate flower. Oh, would you look at that? God damn it. There we go. Wait. I life is hard, but we did it finally. Yay! Yay! Ophi's here. Yeah. I know you're not making fun of me. I was just joking. I will put chat here because Tay is gonna be on that side. Okay, now I'm here. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry for being a mess today. Welcome back to live. Thank you. Thank you. It was midsummer yesterday, so I'm both tired because I stayed up longer than I usually do, and on top of that, I have my brother's girlfriend. She wanted a lot of drinks, so that my dad made them for her, but then she didn't actually want to drink them, and my dad was like, you can't throw them away. You know, because there's a lot of alcohol in them, and Ophi can drink them. So I drank way too much more than I should have had, and usually I don't mix too many kind of drinks, because if you mix too many different kind of drinks, like you know, like harsh alcohol like vodka and then tequila and then wine and beer, you know, your stomach's gonna get a little bit like, not rowdy, but it's definitely gonna be an unhappy stomach. So I've been trying to survive today. That's me. So how was your midsummer yesterday? Did you have fun? For the Swedes, of course. I know the rest of you probably just had a normal Friday. Making sure alcohol goes to waste. Exactly. That was my plan all along. No, I just hate seeing things go to waste, you know, and you can't just pour it out. So I blame my little brother's girlfriend for saying she wanted like so many things. She legit had like 5 glasses of different things in front of her, but she still said yes to more things. It was dumb. It was stupid. And you know, if someone says yes and asks for something, my dad will give. We almost always harvest hay, so that's what I was doing. Oh yeah, it was hay fever. Yeah, I know. You sent me a picture of all the hay and the grass. Way too tired to call a party. Yeah, I get it. Didn't celebrate midsummer, but I had a lovely get together with my friends. Oh, that's nice. I had some drinks as well, but not too much. Oh, that's good. Be responsible, adult. Tay was responsible. He didn't drink too much. So when we were going home, I told him like, okay, I need to both go to the bathroom like really badly, and I need to puke really badly. So we need to like go fast, like from my parents' home to my home. And for people's context, it takes like 15 minutes of like a brisk walk, and I was a bit drunk, so, and then we went to a path where they were like doing construction work, so the path was not pathing, so we had to like make our own path where there was no path. And I mean, I was a bit drunk, but I still remember this black cat was laying on the grass, and I was like, oh my god, kitty. And he came, and then he followed us, and he was like throwing himself in front of our feet because he wanted belly rubs. Oh my god, I'm sorry. That's basically all I remember. And then I think I got home some way, and I texted my dad something, and then I passed out. We got twice that before we even were done. There were a lot. I mean, that's good. You have stuff for your horses. Food. Very good. We're gonna talk about one of my favorite book series today. At least it's not maybe my favorite of this author, but is definitely one of my favorite author, because I like all his work. I have all his work in my bookcase. No, actually I don't. His newest one I don't have. I have read it, but I don't personally own it yet. But all his other works I do own, because I really, really like them. But before I start, I should probably invite my co-host, Tay. He's sitting in the... you know, because he's here, but he's sitting in the bedroom. And I'm sitting in the computer room. So we're in the same apartment, but separated. And I mean, I could have invited him here, so we did it on the same microphone, but I think it would have been easier do it over Discord, because then you guys can see his little thing move up and down when he's speaking, so you know when I'm speaking and he is speaking. Not that I think you can't recognize my voice compared to his voice, but just to be clear to any new people joining and stuff. I'm really sorry that my IQ is so low today. It's going to be a lot of rambling and a lot of like blank stares from me. So hopefully Tay can add some more substance to the content. But hello everyone. Welcome to our second book club. Tonight we're going to talk about Inside Mari. We're going to, in the beginning, talk about it with like a general summary of the series and like the first few books, so we're not going to spoil it, but then later on we're going to spoil the ending. But I will be very clear when we do spoil the ending, so if you haven't read it yet, or you haven't finished it, or you do want to read it after the discussion, you will know when you know the spoiler is coming. It's like a psychological buzz or a psychological series, and I mean, you're gonna be in for a ride if you read it. I'm Ophi, your host as always, and I mean, we're gonna dive into this manga. It's kind of uncomfortable sometimes, this manga, and I have read a lot about it. It's very intense, which tends to be the mangas we do talk about here. I feel like even the first one we did and this one was kind of like that. So you're definitely gonna be in for a ride. Let me call Mr. Second Man. He's not answering. Oh, hello. Oh no, I can't hear you. Speak, or never be spoken to again. Oh, there you are.
Now it's working.
Oh, it's working. Yay. I'm not the only one with technical difficulties.
Discord took his sweet time, but we connected.
Yay!
Yahoo!
Yahoo!
Hello, Tech.
Yeah. So say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tay. I'm not really a YouTuber or anything, but I'm on the Queen's Discord.
Yes. Yes, you are. I mean, we can be different. Tay from Ophi. Yeah. That's good. You can see difference between us. Tay sounds more feminine. Yes, yes, he does. That is for sure.
Totally.
If you expected lovely, feel-good stories, you're not. Exactly. We don't do lovey-dovey stuff here. We do fucked up things, or not at all. I just want to tell a story about yesterday on Midsummer. I don't usually get into like, I'm a gamer, right? But I don't usually like what do you call them? Fem camp in English.
In like party games.
Yeah, like that you do in teams, and there's a lot of like blindfolded, and it's like best out of 3 or 5 or something like that. I usually don't like those kind of games because I feel like they're always meant to be like humiliating in some kind of way. But my brother and his girlfriend, they brought a board game that was like a game where you play in teams of 2, and then someone gets a word, and then they had to like describe that word but with different words and different kind of like explanations, and that was kind of fun, and Tay and I almost won that. Then he fucked up in the end and we didn't win, but I don't blame him. I have gotten over it. But I thought it was really funny that we're on a different kind of like wavelength, because Tay got the word kleptomania, and his description of that was a robber, but not really a robber, but someone who takes stuff, and it's something you can put on a Sims, like a trait in Sims. And I was like, kleptomania? You were like, yeah.
Let's go.
And everyone, like my parents and my brother and his girlfriend, they were like, what the fuck? How did you guess that?
They're not real gamers.
Exactly.
Like who uses the word kleptomaniac if you haven't played The Sims?
Yes. But at the same time, everyone, when they tried to like explain words, they were like trying to use like information and facts. But when we try to explain words, we use like real references to our lives. And I feel like, that was better because we could easily like understand each other better. For example, I had jasmine rice. And I was like, we've been talking about eating this more than pasta. And you were like, rice. And I was like, yes, but a specific rice with a girl name. And you were like, oh, jasmine rice. And everyone was like, oh my God. We're smarter than other people. Oh my God. I thought that was pretty good of us.
There were some good words and descriptions.
Yeah. I don't remember much of the other words. I think we had like itch, klåda. I don't remember the description for that word though.
I remember we got the word dessert wine. I had to describe that to you.
Oh yeah.
Like, what is a cake plus plus what are we drinking?
And I was like, oh, dessert wine. And everyone was like, oh, that's cool. That's good description. I mean, I think we did great though. But then my brother and his girlfriend, they started like, because there was this thief tokens that you could pull out of the bag. So instead of like words, you would get like a token of a thief, and you could like take points from another team. And they started like pulling those thieves out like they were nothing. So they stole all our points. I feel like that's bullshit, and they actually didn't win the game. There were definitely some kleptomania in there.
Yeah, they got like double our thief tokens.
Yeah.
We got scammed.
Yeah, we were better at the game, but still lost. Fucking insane. Anyway, because I'm very hungover, I will try to keep this stream or this discussion for an hour or so. If I blank out, you guys know why.
We don't have the smart today.
Yeah, I don't. I have all the alphabetic combinations except for IQ today, but everything else is up there. I have not. I read this series, by the way, but I didn't fully reread it for this book club. I was going to, but I had a lot of reading to do due to my new studying, because I have a lot to read for my summer course, and because I already read this, I kind of just skimmed through the pages. But I know that you read the entire thing and you finished the last book a few days ago, Tay?
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
It's fresh in my mind.
It is very fresh in his mind. And this is like a series that I have a hard time letting go of. I feel like once you've read it, it's very like in your mind and kind of stuck there. And I feel like that's the case with all of this author, Shuzo. All his books and all his series. I feel like he writes very raw and very in a way that I feel like a lot of people is seen and can relate to something, even if it's not anything positive or nice. It is still something you can relate to. But yeah,
it's like a growing up, coming to age story. So I found stuff I related to with all the characters in the story.
Yeah. But I will give a very spoiler-free summary first, and then I will talk a little bit about the author himself or what I know of him. And then I have some like topics that are easily to talk about when it comes to this. And then after a while, I will do warning, we're going to talk about the ending and we're going to not be spoiler free anymore. And then we will discuss the ending and what we think of it. I think that's a good plan. Yes?
Very nice.
But the spoiler-free version of Inside Mori is that Isao Komori is a 21-year-old recluse or like a hikikomori kind of guy, if you guys are familiar with that word. He spends his entire life playing games and watching this girl he sees at a convenience store, Mari, and he kind of half stalks her, and she's this perfect seemingly high school student, and he thinks everything with her is perfect. And then one day Isao wakes up inside Mari's body. He's now living her life, going to her school and interacts with her friends, and it doesn't take long until he kind of realizes that Mari's life isn't the way he imagined, and it's not as perfect as it seemed when he stalked her and he was watching her. And then what follows all of that and all the books is like a slow burning psychology mystery of him trying to get back to his body for the body switch. And who is inside his body? Is Mari inside his body, or where is she? And it also explores identity, mental health, gender, I guess, and self-perception. I think that's a good explanation without saying too much about the show. And the author who wrote this is called Shuzo Oshimi. I do not know how to pronounce that name, but sorry for butchering it. But Oshimi is known for making very deeply emotional and disturbing, but also kinda incredibly real stories. Some of his other works is Flower of Evil, Blood on the Tracks, which I do recommend 100%. It's one of my favorites of him, and Happiness. He have written many other works, but I think these three are the most known of him. When it comes to Inside Mari, Oshimi said that he wanted to explore the inner identity of people who appear perfect on the outside, but the start... my IQ dropped there for a moment. I don't know what I was trying to say. But it explored the inner identity of people who seem to be perfect on the outside, but when you get closer to them, you realize their life aren't as perfect. And it started as an idea that he had, that what if you suddenly became the person that you idolized? It could be an idol, or it could be someone in your class that you thought was great, or they had a better life than you did, and would they be anything as you imagined, or is they just this imaginative version of themselves due to your idolization of them? He also wanted to question how people, especially women in this case, are often seen through others' fantasies, and what it does to someone when they are forced to live up to the image they never created themselves. For example, how men have these fantasies about different women, how they should be and how they should act. And especially, or also with women and men, trying to go through puberty, and they feel like they have to be perfect, and they live in this world where they have to have the best grades and all that. Oshimi doesn't plan his story out, what I read, but he begins with a feeling or an emotion, and he usually takes from his own experiences from his childhood and brings into his story, and he kinda slowly weaves out the story together, which I thought was kind of interesting, because he thinks that's how you create the most raw story ever, instead of it. And he didn't want it to be predictable, and that's why he feels like he can create an unpredictable story if he himself doesn't know the ending yet. What do you think about that? Because I know you didn't know that, if you didn't do your own research, of course. Maybe you did.
You have not researched the author.
Yeah.
So from what I remember from school, hearing about different authors and their strategy, is often we start from the back. Like, we know the ending, so we go back somewhere.
Yeah.
And then we move towards our destination we already know.
Yeah.
So hearing that Shuzo Oshimi does his complete own race is kind of interesting, because it's like the opposite from what I have heard in my life.
I mean, I've seen a lot of interviews with a lot of authors, and usually it's that they do like a timeline, and it doesn't have to be 100% like perfect, but they still know what's going to happen in that timeline. And it's kind of like you have a beginning, you have some scenes, you have the middle, you know kind of what's gonna happen in the end. But when it comes to Oshimi, when he talks about his stuff, he's just like, I want to portray this. I don't know how it's going to end and what's gonna happen, because it's kind of like a ride for me too. I write whatever I feel is most natural in what's gonna happen next in the next scene. So I feel like it's a very different way of working. But I also feel like when you read his stories, it's very I feel like you can sense that in a way, because I kind of feel like it is very unpredictable. And we're not going to talk about the ending yet, but I do feel when we do come to the end, I usually am really good at seeing, like, you know, like these twisted ends and everything, or like who was the murderer all along, you know, which is why I don't read mystery books that much, because I feel like they're very boring and I can see the twist very early on. But I kind of feel like with this one, I had no idea where he was going with it until it happened.
Completely lost it too. It was stuff happened. I don't know why they happened. I'm intrigued. I want to continue.
Yeah.
It's like going on a journey together with the author, because he himself doesn't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, but it's also very interesting because I feel like he kind of must have known somewhat what he was doing, because when I was flipping through the pages and skim reading before this book club, I kind of felt like I could see some signs that was pointing towards the ending very early on, but I didn't see those signs at the time. Like when you read it a second time, I kind of felt like I saw so many things that just went above my head. This is very interesting. So I think that he had some sort of idea where he was going, or he went back and kind of like edited his work and his chapters after he wrote the ending, maybe. I do know that this manga wasn't published book by book. It was published chapter by chapter in a weekly magazine in Japan before it was serialized into proper manga books. So I also feel like, you know, the ending of each chapter kind of gives it's not like cliffhangers in that kind of sense, but it kind of still gives you a feeling that you want to continue reading, because it's always like a big question or some intense things happening in end of almost every chapter. It doesn't feel like, you know, okay, I feel satisfied after reading this chapter. It always more feel like I need to continue. And I feel like this is the kind of series where you can read it like straight up, read it for an entire day. You start reading the first volume and then you just realize, oh shit, I finished it in one sitting and I haven't eaten today yet. Because it kind of pulls you in and you just continue reading because you can't really put it down. And I also feel like he doesn't use a lot of words. He used more show don't tell. There's a more visual effects and more like emphasis on the visuals rather than long-winded dialogue.
I think how all the chapters connected with each other. It really like what's gonna happen next. I wanna continue. It's like playing your favorite MMO, and suddenly it's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
and you're deep inside the dungeon still.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do this small task first, then I'm going to bed. And it was kind of the same. I will just read one more chapter, then I'm done. But you kinda never are done.
And like for a first time reader and not really doing any research on the author or the story, going completely blind, like I didn't know where I had people, where it was going. It was very exciting.
Yeah. I feel like it's a very thrilling story to get into. And I mean, I knew somewhat the author before. I knew that he writes psychological thrillers and psychological books that are mainly about the human psyche. So when it did say that he was like, oh, they kind of like switched bodies and did like a body swap, and it's all supernatural and they have to like get into each other's body, back to your own body and stuff. I kind of knew, obviously, he doesn't write supernatural stories, so it's nothing this author would do. But I was still like, you know, I felt like the story was gaslighting me the entire way through, because I was like, maybe he's actually writing a supernatural story for the once, because it kind of leans to the fact that they actually did swap bodies, and this guy is just stuck in this girl's body for some reason, and he doesn't know what to do. And you know, in the beginning I kind of felt, because we start off as the guy, and it kind of made me a bit uncomfortable the first time I read it, because I was like, ooh, it's kind of predatory, because he is 21, 22, a shut-in 22, 21-year-old, and he's kind of like stalking this 15, 16-year-old girl, and he's like idolizing her and how beautiful she is, and she has the perfect boob size and everything about her body is perfect, you know, and all that, and she smells great, and I was like, okay, this makes me kind of uncomfortable reading about like a stalker. And then he ends up in her body and he's like, I can touch her all I want, you know.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like weird in the beginning, and I have heard a lot of people, they read like the first volume and they kind of had that feeling to it, and they were like, yeah, it was very predatory, I didn't like it, and I kind of like stopped reading it. But I also kind of feel like that's a shame, because if you actually push through, I feel like it's rewarding in the end, because it kind of turns out it isn't predatory. And yeah, it's just a really worth it experience if you really push through to the end of this story. Or what do you think?
I think he was definitely weird how he treated her. Like he started walking her home, like being a few meters behind her, walking her home at night.
Yeah.
Trying his best to meet her at the grocery store, remembering like her nightly schedules. It was very weird, and he himself like tries to justify himself, like, I'm not this creepy, I just like this girl, I'm just gonna follow her home one time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't really know this author, so when the body swaps happened, I have still had like the thought that this could be supernatural.
Yeah.
This could be, like, I had so many doors open to say when I was like going through the story in my own head.
Yeah. But like at the same time, like even if he was a creep and he stalked her and it was kind of predatory and all that, when they do swap bodies, you have the scene where he has to like get dressed for school. And he wants to show her as much respect as possible, and he tries to change clothes without looking or touching himself, which
Yeah,
is
that part was.
obviously, it's hard. But it was like a weird scene because it's like, because that was the scene that kind of threw me off, that okay, maybe it's not psychological and it is supernatural, because it was a weird scene.
Yeah, because how they build up the character, like
Mm,
Home Alone only goes out once a week to grocery shop,
yeah,
plays video games all day. Like you think he's gonna be like a super pervert, and
yeah,
when he wakes up inside this pretty lady he likes,
mm,
you think his first thought is gonna be, I'm gonna stand in front of the mirror naked.
yeah,
Ooh.
and do
But then it's
things.
like, oh no, she's a perfect angel. I can't look at her. I
Yeah,
can't defile her.
yeah,
No.
yeah,
And then it's like tries to change clothes like with a blindfold and stuff.
yeah.
Not what
Something
you would expect.
something I did like though is that he, even though he is a shut in, he could easily continue to be a shut in, but in Mari's body. But he kind of pushed through his own trauma and his own mental health, because she is a perfect angel and she's the perfect girl, and he didn't want her to get bad grades or uh, fall out with her friends or not go to school and be like him, a trashy person. And he kind of like got, like, he got hit back up through her, and he started going to school and doing normal society things. So he kind of like evolved as a person in her body.
Yeah, he saw her everyday life, compared himself to her, and then he wanted to be better, because he wanted to be a better person for her, you know.
Yeah. Um, Another thing that I was thinking was very, very interesting when it comes to this story is how they talk about identity and your true self. Because that's something that is, I feel like it's one of the biggest topics and themes in this entire series, is what it means to be you and what makes you special and different and what makes you stand out from everyone else. What is it to live your life, and what is it to be yourself? Because everyone's, we have different opinions. Like, obviously I know who I am, but I also know there's probably 100 different kind of Ophies or imagination of Ophies on how other people view me and how other people see me. And I feel like that's a topic and a theme that is being brought up in this series all the time. Especially when the guy, the shut-in, is seeing Mari. Like, that was one version of Mari. And then you have this girl who is obsessed with Mari at school. You have her version of who Mari is. You have the parents' version of who Mari is, and the teacher's version of her, and so on and so on. Did you sympathize with any of the characters on how they view themselves compared to how others view them?
Well, I saw a lot of different parts from different characters in myself. Like in Isau's, in how Isao sees himself, I saw myself a few years back in him. A lot of things I did in some darker times I saw in Isao, like no hope for the world, just fuck it kind of attitude. I'm just gonna feel good in the moment. Don't care about the future.
I feel
So
like there's like a lot to, like Isao is kind of made to be kind of unlikable, at least in the beginning. You know how he stalks this 15-year-old girl, and he is a hikikomori, he's just a shut-in, he stopped going to the university, he has depression, he's watching porn over and over again and masturbating, you know. He doesn't really care about the future, or that his parents still think that he's in school and they're paying for his tuition and for school, and he's staying home and kind of like, you know, using them in a way. And I don't know, you know, I can't say I can relate to a lot of the porn addictions and all that, but I feel like I know, shocked Pikachu face, but I feel like, you know, I can see myself when I went through my my depression when I was working a few years back. I didn't want to go to work, and I just had this feeling that if I go to work I will die, because I had so much panic anxiety of it, and I was like legit afraid and scared. And that was just like my mind playing mind games on myself. But when I read this story the first time, I hadn't gone through my depression. And I remember when I first read it, I was like, I don't understand how people can end up here and blah blah blah. But then it's been stuck on my mind for so long. And then when I went through my own depression, I was like, damn, I am there. And I kind of made myself a shut-in because I didn't want to see people. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to see my parents or my friends. And I just made up excuses why I couldn't go places and stuff. So I think it's very relatable to a lot of people, and especially today's generation, when you have so much pressure on you. Like, you have to do well in school, you have to not just do well in school, but you have to pick and study something that you will actually get a job from. For there's so many things you can study today that actually will not lead to anything at all. And then you have to like start over again once you're done with that. And I feel like there's so much pressure on students today and people today that it's easy to just fall into the trap of whatever, fuck it.
yeah, like from an outside perspective, and you haven't gone through it, all the solutions, all the fears seems crazy and easy. Like, just go to work, just open your textbook, just do this, just do that, and you will fix it. And you know yourself that I just need to do this to fix my shit. But every time you try to do, it's like something is squeezing you and sucking your life energy out of you. It's crazy how the mind can affect your body.
Yeah. I mean, one of my hardest things was we had a thing at work. If you're sick more than 3 days, your boss have to call you. It was like kind of like mandatory. And in my mind, because I was sick a lot due to my panic and anxiety and not wanting to go to work because people were so mean and bullied me and everything. I just didn't want to be there. So I was like trying to protect myself by not going. But after 3 days, my boss started calling me, and she called more and more until I answered. And to this day, I still have, as soon as my phone rings, I kind of like feel sweat going down my spine because I still fear my phone ringing. And I can't explain why, because every time I answered, she was just genuinely worried about me. She was like, oh, you're sick, how are you doing, do you need anything, can I help you with anything? It was nothing bad, but in my mind it was just like, shit, another thing on my table that I have to deal with and stuff. And I feel like that's kind of what Isao did though. Like he shut himself in, he just like turned the entire world off. And then he started idolizing Mari and Mari's life because she was so perfect. And he wanted to be like her and have a life like her. Because in the beginning, I felt like it was 100% just him being a perverted predator. But I feel like, later on, and when I reread it now, I feel like it's more jealousy. That he has this version of Mari being the perfect daughter, the perfect child, beautiful, doesn't have to work out too much. She's just born with good genes or whatever, and he's just very jealous of her life and he wants to be her or have a life like her, because he think living like her would be easier than living his own life.
Yeah, if he just was her, his life would be perfect.
Yeah.
Because you only see the outer shell. People don't post their struggles and issues on social media and stuff.
Yeah.
So when he sees this seemingly perfect schoolgirl every day, he just starts imagining this perfect person in his mind, even though he never talks to her or even knows her name before the switch happens.
Yeah. But I also feel like, isn't it very easy for us to do that? Like, I've seen, I'm not gonna lie, one of my biggest hobbies is just to sit and stare at people. Like, I could go to a cafe and sit there for hours just staring at people and making up scenarios and stories on who they are and what they look like, to be what kind of people they are just by looking at them. And I feel like we do that a lot as humans, and I think we do that a lot even if we don't think about it. I feel like we all have a version or a vision of who everyone are in our surroundings, and we base that on looks and what they tell us and what we see them do. And the less we know them, the more far off is our vision and expectation of them to be as people, because we don't know them. Obviously our picture and painting of our friends are going to be more accurate than maybe someone we see twice a year, because we don't really know them. And I feel like that is very on topic for this manga, because we also have that friend, I don't remember her name, but she's also, the girl in school who's a bit stalkerish, that she wants to be Mari as well, because she also thinks Mari is perfect. And Isao, when he is inside of Mari, he kind of wants her help to get Mari back, and they kind of have this kind of club thing going.
It's a weird team up.
Yeah. But you can also tell that she also doesn't know Mari and who Mari is in actuality, because her version of Mari isn't Mari's true self either.
No, because she's like a stalker too, because
Yeah.
the only reason she approaches the Isao Mori is because he said a word that Mori would never use. So
Yeah.
it has to be an imposter.
Exactly.
Like,
And
who is this new person inside Mori?
yeah, and I feel like it's like when he said that word, I feel like he shattered for a moment the version of her Mari, because her Mari was this pitch perfect person who would never say something like that. So when he did, her entire version of Mari shattered, and to like save that version of Mari, see, she kind of have this scenario that, oh, this is an imposter because it can't be my Mari, because my Mari would never do this. And that's when she also finds out that Isao is inside Mari and Mari is actually not Mari, and she jumps that gun very fast. I mean, like, if someone would tell you that, oh my god, I'm not me, someone is inside me, I swapped bodies with them, you would not jump that gun very fast and be like, okay, that makes sense. I feel like it would be more, maybe you should go to have a straitjacket on and be hospitalized for a bit, you know? I feel like in actual reality, I just feel like she was so afraid of losing her version of Mari that she was okay with accepting whatever supernatural thing this was with a body swap or a soul swap or what you want to call it.
Yeah, because it didn't take much to trigger her. Just act a little weird and use a word, and she goes directly to, "You're not Mari. Who are you?"
Yeah.
Mari would never say this.
Yeah.
Where is the real Mari?
Yeah. Something I find and also very interesting about this story is I have read a lot of trans people say that they really related to this story because it kind of describes the dysmorphia that you have if you're born in the wrong body, that you feel like you are someone on the inside that you can't see in the mirror. What do you feel about that statement?
I mean, I can definitely see that waking up in a brand new body might be the dream for a lot of people. So I can definitely see how people have fantasized that and how they can like see themselves and their fantasies in what happened to Isao.
Yeah. But I also feel like, if you take the fact that some people are just born in the wrong body, this could be like a very good trans representation of that you are a man but you are stuck in a woman's body, and how you have to kind of like portray yourself to be feminine even though that's not how you are on the inside, because in the beginning Isao also have issues how to walk and how to sit feminine because he is a man. So he sits with his legs spread and everything, and he had to really work on being a woman and what it is to be a woman according to society.
He gets like thrown into a whole new life and has to adapt because he doesn't want to destroy Mari's image, so he tries his best to adapt, but he has no clue how to sit, how to walk, how to talk, how to apply makeup. Like he wants to be the perfect Mari, He tries to be, but he has no clue what he's doing, and that pressure, like, creates so much anxiety and distress for him.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many interesting things that you can really talk about. I feel like identity and your true self is like one of the biggest, but I do feel it's interesting with this how many trans people also kind of like sympathizes and feel like they can see themselves in this story as well. When it came to the trans people, they were like really, really, really disappointed with the ending because they wanted to have a different ending, clearly. And I feel like we should talk about the ending because the ending is a very big aha of the
It's
story.
like that.
Yeah. So I will warn everyone that we're going to talk about the spoilers and the ending. And yeah, we're officially in the spoiler territory. And if you haven't finished Inside Mori, feel free to pause or bookmark this and come back later. And if you actually don't care and you're not going to read it anyway, then just listen to the ramble. Continue whatever you're doing. But I do not want to spoil it for anyone who actually wants to read it, because I feel like the best experience of Oshimi's books is to experiencing them yourself, and he always have a twist in the end that usually does not come from it kind of like is very unpredictable, and I feel like if you know the ending when you start reading it, it's not gonna be as fun. How would you rate this manga? I mean, it is by one of my favorite authors of all time, so I think I rated it 5 stars out of 5, and I stand by that rating. What do you say, Tay? What is your rating?
I did also rate it 5 stars on Goodreads.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very captivating story. I don't really read this kind of stuff, so it was very fresh to me. It's something I haven't really experienced before. So like how every chapter leads into each other, how it is kind of like addicting, like you just want to continue and continue. How it like throws you off and is kind of a mess sometimes, but like an organized mess. It was
Yeah.
very fun to see and to read.
I mean, I
I
feel
really liked
like
it.
when he writes books, they usually do have a little bit of like a mind fuck to them. And I know a lot of people don't like his work because he always write about puberty. And he usually writes about teenagers who are between 13 and 16, and there are nudity in it, and there are like exploration of sexuality, and there is some sexual scenes in it. I mean, you have masturbation and stuff like that. So I know a lot of people tend to say they are grossed out by it, and they feel like people shouldn't add that to stories. I personally kind of feel like that is to take away too much of how it is to be a teenager, though, because like that is part of growing up, is to exploration and puberty and hormones is kind of like part of teenagery. you know but I do understand why some people could be not offended, but they could be uncomfortable reading it. He also do explore a lot of uncomfortable other traits a lot of like psychological and mental health issues. But I really like it.
Yeah, I get how people could be uncomfortable with how things are portrayed and how you deal with certain issues and stuff, but it's also very realistic, I think, because
Yeah.
we all have been teenager, we all have had crazy hormones, we all have gone through it in some way or another.
Yeah.
So, and like when you are your teenage self, you're gonna see yourself naked, your body is gonna change, you're gonna notice stuff, you're gonna like some stuff, you're gonna hate some stuff. So it was a very, very intimate and realistic way to portray the growing up question, I think.
Yeah, something that I feel like, I always feel uncomfortable reading Oshimi's books, because he has a way of emphasizing a lot on his drawings. And I feel like every character seems so alive, and he puts a lot of effort into drawing their eyes. And the dialogues are very limited. If you look at other mangas artists, I feel like he doesn't he do show more than he tells stuff. He likes to show in picture format than to have like a long discussion through dialogue and bubbles, which is something I like, but sometimes it can take that uncomfortable turn, especially if it's relatable to you. And if you've gone through trauma of some sort, or you have experienced trauma, or you have mental health issues, all his books are very, very uncomfortable to read, in my opinion. He also have this body horror kind of thing to them. I know a lot of people do not like that he is a horror author, because a lot of people don't think what he's writing is horror. But I feel like it's very fitting that it's horror. It's like scary, but in a realistic way, that this is actually someone's life, and someone's life isn't always perfect, and it can be scary when it comes to what your brain do with trauma and mental health issues. But let me do the ending explanation, what really happened in the end, because we did a summary of the entire show, but we did it spoiler free, and now there will be a spoiler. So let's break down the twist in the end. Isao never actually switched body with Mari. Whoa, we said it.
Crazy.
It never happened. I know there's like I mean, it is said to be a body swap, a manga, but in the end it wasn't, and he was just playing with us all along. The truth is, Isao is just like a split personality created by Mari herself. The whole story is happening inside of Mari's mind, and her way of escaping from emotional pain, family trauma, and the pressure of always being perfect to everyone at school and her parents and basically just everyone. It's like a psychological term, and it's a form of dissociation, and a coping mechanism, I presume. By creating Isao, and he's a lonely but kind of like curious person, an outsider, she is finally able to examine herself and her own life, but from a distance through someone else's eyes. And she can start to confront parts of herself that she's been repressing due to the trauma that she had. So the mystery was never supernatural, it was just psychological. And by the end, Mari starts to like know herself. She's like puzzling back together who she is, and she's facing her trauma finally. And the beginning is always difficult in the process of healing, but she has started the process at least. And it's all thanks to Isao though that he helped her go through the entire trauma, and with his help and dissociating with reality, she could start facing the truth about herself and who she wants to be in the future. What did you first suspect when did you suspect the twist at all? I mean, we talked a little bit about it, but because I was very blindfolded, I legit thought that, okay, he usually writes psychological stuff, but maybe this is actually supernatural. And I felt very dumb when the ending came. I was like, oh, okay, so he was psychological all along. Of course, split personality. I should have seen that coming.
Like, I got completely baffled by the ending. I thought it, like how he set up the reality of things. I really liked how he did it, but I was like down with this is a magical body swap story.
Yeah.
Until the end, and then he just pulls the rug under you, and you're just like, whoa, that's crazy.
I'm sorry I have to go. Can I ask you when and what next manga club will it be? It'll be... Oh, I don't actually know. We haven't decided yet, but we did talk about the atelier. Atelier? I don't know the full name of it, but someone talked about it. Maybe it was you who mentioned it in... Oh yeah, it was. Blah 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 blah. What was it called now again? Is it Atelier? I'm trying to find the comment to see what the name is. Oh yeah, Atelier. Yeah. Oh yeah, Witch Hat Atelier. Yeah, I knew there was something like that. I have a lot of friends who told me that I need to read it, so maybe it's time. I was going to do like we a vote, but I kind of feel like maybe we should just pick it, you know, because I've seen that the drawings are really beautiful. So maybe we do a vote later on, a yes and no vote if we want to read it. Otherwise we will pick something else, but it is something I want to read at least. But no, nothing is decided yet, so I would be safer to say come back later. Otherwise I will post it online. And the next one will be in 2 weeks. We usually do every other week. Oh, used to. This is the second time and it's been months apart, but the idea is every other week. And I finally got my job, so I don't really have to, I was gonna say perform well with my job, but I got my job and I don't have to work longer hours than necessary anymore, so I can start doing more streams and be more present here. So in 2 weeks. But yeah, we were talking about the ending of Inside Mari. Yeah, I don't know. Did you like the ending though? Did you feel like it came from nowhere? Because for me, it was the same. You know, like you were pulled the rug underneath you and you were like, oh, you know, where the thing came. But did you feel like it came too sudden and it was just like too convenient of an ending, and um, yeah, you know what I mean? Did you like the ending? Was it good enough for you, or did you feel like it was missing something and you wanted more of an explanation?
Because I read it all in like one sitting, like actually two, but I read the majority in one sitting. So when the ending came, I thought it explained everything really good,
Yeah.
because when it happened, I could like go back and see how there were hints that it was just actually all just Mari all along, because during the story we found the day uh, Isao Mari and her friend Yori, I think. They did find like evidence that Mari had spied on Isao, because he was so he was so in her mind like carefree, no problems, no pressure. She was like, there were hints and evidence that she had stalked him and made an image of him in her mind,
Yeah.
which and that projection she had of Isao was actually the Isao that we got to follow for most of the story
Yeah.
were inside Mari's body.
Yeah.
So when the twist happened, I actually I could go back and see how there were some hints and evidence dropped before.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like disappointed or anything. I really liked it, because when it happened, I could like instantly see how previous chapter had hinted at the ending, and how all the pieces came together nicely.
Yeah. I feel like I agree with you. I did like the ending, and I like how it was just like, well, it wasn't supernatural at all. It was actually real life, and this is how that is all explained. And it made sense. Like, the ending made sense. I think, though, because I also read it in one sitting, I think, though, that I kind of felt like I wanted more. I felt like the last chapter, or at least the last volume, felt very, very, very rushed to me. Like, I would have wanted them to spend a little bit more time on her trauma and her split personality, and more explanation to how it ended like this, because I felt like we didn't get enough background to the family trauma that made her spiral into having a split personality. It was just like, okay, this is what she has, and this is what her Isao is. It's just her dissociating and her living her life the way she wants to live it, carefree and without a care in the world, and doesn't have to be perfect. She can just be a bum or whatever. But I would have wanted to know more on what drove her into it, you know? I felt like we didn't get that enough.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree with that, because we only the only thing that the ending showed is really how everything worked together,
Yeah.
not what built it up. Like we know that Mari had a different name when she was younger, because her grandma wanted her to be named whatever that was. But when she passed away, her mother changed her name because she wanted her to be named Mari, but her grandma and husband wanted this instead.
Yeah.
We didn't really get to explore the relationship between the mother or the grandmother. We only really saw that grandmother nice,
Yeah.
mother kinda mean.
Yeah, exactly. And I would have wanted to see it more, but at the same time, it also, I mean, he is a man of what I've said before, of showing and not telling. And because he can't really tell us, he would need to show us. And to show us, we would need more volumes, probably. And the story would go on. And I'm guessing that was not his focus. His focus was never how would you end in this kind of like situation where you get a split personality. His focus was more how do you deal with dissociation, and he made it into like a mystery instead. And he was more talking about the themes of identity and who is your true self and how do you know you are you, and when do you know your true self is. I mean, I think we all been there when people are like, oh, I think you're like this, or oh, I always imagine that you like this, or you know, and you're like, oh yeah, I know. I mean, it's like for you, Tay, like a lot of people just assume you're gay for some reason. I mean, that's just the vision or version of you that many people have, I guess, without
It's
knowing
cool
you.
when it happens.
It's
It
just like,
happens
oh,
all the
he
time.
likes purple, he must be gay, you know?
Oh, he likes Taylor Swift. Oh, he likes purple. Hella gay.
Hella gay. How can he listen to Taylor Swift and be straight? But yeah. I mean, I think we've all been in like one. I remember I was in a relationship many years ago that was extremely abusive, both physically and mentally. And I changed myself so much to be the version of me that he wanted me to be. And I feel like it's very common that we change for our partner. And sometimes it's good changes, don't get me wrong. Like sometimes we have to change because we're compromising. But when you change your entire self, that's when it gets a little bit messy. Because I remember when we later on broke up a few years later, I had no idea who I was. Because I started like questioning everything. Did I like this food, and did I like this color and this kind of clothing because he told me to? Or was it something I actually truly liked myself? And you have to like rebuild yourself and who you are as a person. And that can be like really hard, especially if you're older. But I think like everyone kind of goes through that kind of era when you're a teenager as well, you know? Are you the sporty kid, or are you the nerdy kid, or who are you in school? What kind of clique do you belong to, or whatever? You kind of like have to reinvent yourself, and some people reinvent themselves to be completely different to who they actually are in real life. So they are like one way in school and at work, but a different kind of person when they come home.
Yeah, you have personality A for friend group number 3, you know.
Yeah. And I think like some of that is very normal, but then sometimes it gets too out of hand. And I think Inside Mari is a good representation of how it could be if it goes too far, and trauma, and trying to protect yourself and dissociating, and trying to get to know yourself again. Kind of can be a problem.
Yeah.
But at least, you know, I got the sense, at least in the end, that she was beginning to heal, and she started like being in the process of healing and trying to finding her true self and realizing she wasn't Isao at all, and that was just her trauma response to whatever she'd been through.
Yeah, I got the feeling I got like a similar feeling, like in the end she saw how her body worked and how her mind worked.
Yeah.
She got the schematics, so now she can start building. She knows how it works.
Yeah.
So now she can continue her path to not redemption, but like healing.
Yeah, and finding who she is. I mean, maybe she is Isao, but Isao as herself and as a girl, because maybe she do have his qualities or the version of him, but she's not Isao as a person, if you know what I mean. But maybe the personality that he have is what she have or is, or yeah. I mean, I feel like this identity is like a hard topic because it's so different depending on who you are as a person and the trauma and what you've been through, and there's so many variables to it. Identity is like a true big brick in everyone's life, you know?
Yeah, it's like sometimes it can be hard to know yourself. Like if you're like a shut-in like Isao, and you have your routine, you game all day, then you game and sleep. You do nothing like self-exploration or anything. You don't really ask yourself, is this my favorite thing? You only like you game, you eat food you think tastes good, but you never like, is this my favorite food? Do I want to do this? Do I want to change?
Yeah.
Like you only have a routine, you're barely functioning, you're surviving, but you aren't really evolving or building anything. You're
Yeah.
just existing. And when you just in the mindset to just every day has to be the same, you can't really get to know yourself.
Yeah. I also feel like, if someone would ask you, who are you? I feel like that's a very big question. Like, who are you? Because, like, I feel like it also depends on in what scenario and who is asking. Because sometimes I am a librarian, because I am my job. Sometimes, I'm a crybaby girlfriend because that's what I do, and or sometimes I'm a chef because I'm standing in kitchen and making, the best cuisine ever. I feel like it's a hard question to be just like, this is who I am at all time with everyone, because I feel like the question changes depending on scenario and the people and where we are, and sometimes it also changes from year to year, because who I was 2 years ago is not the same as who I am today. So the question about identity and who our true self is like something that's always changing.
Yeah, like if you ask someone who they are, they might give you the name, but you aren't really your name. That's just a couple of letters thrown together.
Yeah.
They might say, my name is Tay. I work as a teacher, perhaps, but a teacher, that's a profession. That's
Yeah.
not really who you are. You might say, my name is Tay. That's a name. I like to do this and this, but that's not who you are. Those are your activities you like.
Yeah. So it's like so many things that it can be, depending on whatever it is, and sometimes I feel like labels, like, of course you can put labels on everything, but at the same time you aren't your labels. But then the deep question comes, then who are you if you're not a label? you know and in the end we're just human. We are people. All of us. We are complex and weird human beings.
Only thing we have in common is that we are all equally strange.
True. Mm. Did you feel though like the ending was hopeful or kind of sad and tragic? Did you feel sad for Mari, or did you feel like, oh, she's on her way of healing, or did you feel like, damn, girl, you messed up? Or maybe
I,
both.
I think the ending like hints that things are gonna get better because they did something in the ending that they haven't done before in the series.
Yeah.
In that they actually colored the last pages.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like when she walks out in the sunset, all the colors in the world returns. Everything looks nice and bright, and she moves forward in her life.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way to show, or at least hint that things are gonna improve. She knows how her body works now, and she's moving forward, knowing how to deal with it.
This is something I really like about Oshimi, that he uses coloring very well. His other series also use color when it's convenient for the story to convey a feeling. It can be like hopefulness or tragic or what the fuck or whatever. But I do like that he sometimes have color. Inside Mari was probably this story that had the least color in his series, and it was just in the end. But I also feel like it was done so well to convey that emotion without using any words, because you got so much out of it, you know? You could still understand the feeling that he tried to convey by just adding colors.
Yeah, because I think he during the series was really good at like portraying feelings and emotion in characters' expression. But in the ending, when he not only shows expressions and emotion, he also like gives the world bright, warm colors. It's like an extra force that pushes you towards like to think things are getting better.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. There's so many things you can talk about it. I also feel like, this interesting, like in the beginning, you have this predatory man, going after this young woman. But then in the last chapter, it's all like turned upside down, because that's when you learn that she was actually the one stalking him. And he did not even know she kind of existed at all. And she been watching him and spying on him and wishing she was him. And that's when her dissociation started. So like if you start reading this story and you do feel like, oh my god, it's so predatory and I can't read it, and ew, men, how they view women, and especially underaged women, that's disgusting. Keep reading it, because in the end that's not really what the story is about. It's so much deeper. It's so much more about traumatized teenagers, mental health, and dissociating and trying to overcome the trauma that's been inflicted on you, and mental health and trauma responses. But yeah, I really like this series, and it's definitely one of my favorite. Will you want to read anything more from this author after reading this, or do you feel like, nah, fam, this ain't for me?
Like I'm not really a queasy person.
Yeah.
I can handle the grosser, the heavier stuff.
Yeah.
I would definitely be interested to explore more of his works.
Yeah, Blood on the Track, that's one of my favorites. You can borrow my books if you want. They are kind of like his autobiography, but sprinkled in with fiction, of course. But it's about a boy and his very unhealthy relationship to his mother. She's very like I don't want to say she's a psychopath, but she does not have feelings, and she kind of just wander around and trying to find like something to make her feel alive, even though she doesn't really feel any feelings whatsoever, and she's just like weird and creepy and kill people and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she decides to have a kid because she feel like if she becomes a mom, she maybe will feel some kind of feelings for the first time, but she doesn't actually feel any feelings towards her kid either. And she starts feeling like maybe if I kill him, but then she doesn't kill him, and he grows up, and then when this child becomes a teenager, he starts realizing what an unhealthy relationship he has with his extremely uncomfortable and weird mom. And like one part of him kind of wants to do everything to please his mother, even though she wants him to do really fucked up things. It's non-sexual, I can add. It's not about a sexual relationship between a mom and a son. It has nothing to do with that. It's more him doing everything to be noticed by his mom, and he's only noticed and he can see a spark of life in his mom when he do something extreme, like push his cousin down a hill or whatever, you know. And then he goes crazier and crazier of whatever he tries to do to impress and find a connection to his mom. It's pretty good. I like it. The first half of the series is about him as a teenager, the son, and the second part of the series is about how it affects him in his adult life. So there's like a two-parter of the story.
They sound like a happy duo.
Yeah, it's definitely like a crazy read. It's also a horror read, you know, but it's like a psychological, human nature, crazy psychopath kind of, you know, thing. Because I think his mom, I don't know what disorder she have, but she has like a disorder where she doesn't feel any feelings and she doesn't feel alive. And I'm guessing, and she doesn't have any emotions to anyone or anything. So I'm guessing she's like kind of like a psychopath, but she doesn't mask it. She doesn't mask, because usually psychopath wants to be like liked by other people and they mask to be a normal person. But this mom doesn't really mask it. She's just like a frowny, sad person until her son do something fucked up and she's like, oh. And then she goes back to, whatever, I'm disappointed in you. You know?
Only you had more cousins to throw down a hill.
Exactly. Should have murdered him. He's still alive. What the fuck?
The porn.
Yeah, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Something else you want to say about this the series? while we're on topic. Inside Mari, that is.
Yeah. I think we haven't talked much about the artwork, but
Yeah.
it was I really liked it because it betrayed the emotion so good. It built up the scene so good. They were so connected with the story. It really helped like build everything up. It wasn't not only the text that mattered, but also you could see how the emotions you could like see what they felt. They didn't have to say they were sad. You could see they were sad, and he was really good at like portraying how sad they looked and how awkward things were. And
Yeah.
so I think the story, the artwork, it was a really fun and good read. It definitely you definitely didn't know what was gonna happen, and a lot of stuff was like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
And then in the ending it all made sense.
Yeah. I'm going to ask a poll if we're going to read the Witch Hat Atelier. I know that a lot of people have been asking about it in comments and in the comment section, both on stream but also in my posts about the manga club. So I'm asking, should we read this one? Yes, no. You can vote all you want. For people who doesn't know, the plot is Coco is a kind and daydreaming daughter of a dressmaker who aspires to become a witch. However, because only innate magical user can practice and use magic, she has to give up on her dream. One day she meets with a witch named Queefrey, and after she witnesses how he uses magic by drawing magical runes and using magical ink, Coco accidentally casts a spell that turns her mother to stone. As Coco does not know which magic spell she cast, and Queefrey is tracking the sinister coven that could be behind the incident, he takes Coco as his apprentice in order to undo the spell and allow her to fulfill her dream. As it is gradually revealed, the coven... okay. So basically a daughter of a dressmaker turns her mother into stone, and then she becomes a magical apprentice. I've seen a lot of artwork from this, and it looks hella cute. It also has an anime to it. Oh no, it's scheduled to come out 2025. Maybe it hasn't come out yet. Maybe it's in the works. But it looks really good though.
When you started talking about witches and stuff, I started to think about that anime we watched with the witch school. I don't remember the name.
Oh yeah. I had to be thinking there for a bit. What is the name of it? I don't remember. I know I have it somewhere in my mind.
It was also a game you had on Steam.
Oh yeah, I did have it on Steam. But what was it? Oh, Little Witch Academy. That was it called. I It's a good one. Everyone who haven't seen or read that one, do it. Definitely good. Also, they told you, Anas that was in here before, he or she said that the author of Witch Hat Atelier is actually best friend with the woman who wrote Ascendance of a Bookworm, and they are helping each other making their worlds together. And Ascendance of a Bookworm is one of my favorite book series of all time, so I am excited. If they are friends and they help each other in the writing process, I feel like, it's going to be inflected and mean that the world building is probably going to be amazing, because in Ascendance of a Bookworm, I feel like the world building is one of the most iconic thing ever.
Sounds exciting.
Yes. Yeah, we had to pull up for 5 minutes and it said yes, 100% yes, and we're gonna read it. So I'm ending the poll and we decided we are gonna be reading it. Let's go. I'm excited for that. There were 14 volumes. So there is definitely more volumes than what we have been reading so far. I will say that read at least one volume for the next time. I will probably read all of it, because that's what I usually do. It makes sense to me. But everyone, you don't need or feel the need to read everything. One volume is 100% okay. You can also turn in and just listen to us discuss the manga. You don't have to have read it. You can just turn in and just see what we think about it and maybe decide to read it afterwards. Anything is fine, I feel like. And yeah, I feel like I need to lay down because my hangover is getting bad. I need to drink water as well. So if there's nothing else Tay wants to say, I feel like we can end the stream here, because I have said everything I wanted to say about this Inside Murray, and I'm glad you guys wanted to read it, because it's one of my favorite.
I'm happy with today. Thank you all for coming.
In a non-sexual way, he means.
Or did I?
Or did he? But yeah, thank you everyone for stopping by. I will have some more Pomodoro study streams coming up this week, because I have 2 more classes this week, and then we will see each other on Manga Reading Club in 2 weeks. So not next weekend, but the weekend after that. I will schedule everything and make a post on it, so don't you worry. I will give you the information you need very soon. But thank you everyone for today, and thank you for listening to our rambling, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye everybody.